Welcome everybody to the Keep Austin Film Podcast. I have a guest with me today, Sheilava. If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself for the audience.
Yeah, my name is Sheilava. I'm a writer, director, producer, actress, singer, songwriter, and composer.
Okay, all right. So I noticed that you have a music video that I just saw recently called Cage.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how, film birthed from your love of music.
So I am 27 years and counting in love with the flute. I grew up playing the flute in band, jazz band, marching band, orchestra. I have a master's degree in music. That doesn't really prove its worth a lot of the time. And I kind of found my place in filmmaking because of music, because of my love for song and just lyricism, putting thoughts onto paper and then putting melodies to those thoughts. The very first film set I stepped on was actually a 48-hour film project, and I wrote a song called Lady Outlaw. It was for a Western-themed short film, and the director, Lisa Belcher, loved it, and she invited me back to their next project, and I just took a deep dive, and I haven't gone back ever since. So I got into filmmaking because of music, made quite a few music videos with good friends of mine like Anton Savenko, Tori Rice, and that is kind of like my bread and butter. It's my favorite thing to do, is making narrative music videos, not just like, the band is there, the band's playing, and you're changing outfits every 3 seconds, but it actually tells a story. I really, really like either stories that make you feel something or stories that make you really think, like, what the heck is this about? And kind of deep diving into that. So, yeah.
Well, I guess a little bit more on the music video Cage, because you're talking about making you think what it's about, and there's a lot of themes of there's a creature, demon type of, animalistic creature that's kept behind a cage. And I know just from talking to you off the podcast that you have like a passion for animals and stuff. Does it have anything to do with that, or is it just a fun coincidence?
No, fun coincidence, I would say. Cage is more so the idea of what you could become if you become overly obsessed with something. The idea of like putting yourself into a box or caging yourself, whether that's you become obsessed with work or love, lust, religion, literally anything you become obsessed with to the point where it changes you, and in some cases to extremes where it turns you into this sort of monster. And so that's that's what the whole story is about.
Okay, all right. Well, not animals, I get it. That's cool though. So did you get your start, I guess you said you got started with Lisa Belcher, right?
Yeah, she was the first director I ever worked with.
That's incredible, because I think she's got a film that just came out, House of Abraham. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it'll be in theaters this year.
That's really cool. So your entire career working in film has been here in Austin?
Yes.
Okay.
The only film I've made outside of Texas, or 2 films, was for the Louisiana Film Prize. That was in Shreveport, Louisiana. And then this past February, I was in LA to work on a Christmas horror cat slasher comedy feature starring Chevy Chase and Bruce Dern. That was a wild ride. That was fun. That was the biggest thing I've ever co-produced. Next to Basil King, which has been a year-long journey that I've loved.
All right, let's jump into Basil King then, because I actually just saw Basil King at the Comedy Film Festival, which I believe it won, correct?
We won Best Directing, yeah, and shout out to our director, Daryl Della. He was the director for that pilot episode. That's what was screened at Comedy Film Fest. And that was our very first official selection, so we were super thankful as a team, and then also thankful for our director to have taken that win home. And since then, we have received official selections at Dances with Films LA, which is insane because we get to screen at the TSL Chinese theaters. That's June 28th. And then we just found out this week that we're an official selection at the Waco Film Festival, which is one of my favorite film festivals on planet Earth, just for how they treat filmmakers and they go above and beyond for them. And then we also got into PopCon, which is one of Indy's premier pop, comic, and film conventions. So that's super fun. I think that's where our other Basil King producer, Taylor Fredericks, is from. So
Well, that's exciting. I anticipate a lot of awards are coming your way. As a fan of the series, now that I've seen a couple of the Basil King offshoots, and now Basil King itself, and I think it's one of the things that was really, what really stood out to me about Basil King was how high the production value was. And I thought that this is really something that has legs to live beyond Austin,
Yes, that's absolutely true. And we would not have done that or have achieved that without our cinematographer Chico Mejia, our grip and gaff team, Jay Will, Tyler, all of those guys, the equipment they brought on set, Daryl Della and his vision, and then our creators, Taylor Fredericks, Ryan Castro, and one of our other writers, Isaac Sego. Just our whole team and the passion that we have and how well we connect and collaborate with each other, coupled with all the support we got from the community. Like our executive producer, Amado de Hoyos, helped where, we couldn't reach our goal with the crowdfunding campaign. We had, I think, 5 or 6 mom and pop restaurants or even chain restaurants like Whataburger, Torchy's Tacos, Golden Chick, Home Slice Pizza, what was the other one? Fibonacci, and there were several breweries that donated to our wrap party. I'm missing one, the Leander pizza place. What is that one? Oh yeah, Beyond Pompeii Pizza. We had so many donations as far as food and drinks to our cast and crew, and that saves a lot of money. So that allowed us to help pitch into other places, get really nice locations or top-notch gear. So the community really came together to enable us to achieve that high production value, which there's no way we would have been able to do it otherwise. So super thankful for all of that.
It's incredible. I'm trying to think in my head, like, how do you approach Whataburger and be like, can we have food for our production?
So I have a background in sales and like restaurant management supervision. I was a bartender for forever. I worked in hotels for a while. And apart from just being brave, you have to talk with customers all day long. You have to work with clients all day long. Apart from just being bold enough to ask and say, please and thank you. I also know that how you word something is everything. So it's not just me calling Whataburger and being like, can we have food, please? It's like, hey, this is what we're trying to do. These are the people involved, which is always super important. And, we have other parts of the community like Zilker Theater, Labyrinth Creatives, Archive Theater. We had so many different chunks of the Austin community support us. And, spilling that out, like basically spilling the heart to Whataburger, to Torchy's Tacos, stuff like that, being like, will you also join us? Will you also help? Like, we would appreciate it. We love y'all already. You get our business all the time. Anytime I'm on the road, it's like Buc-ee's or Whataburger, right? Those are the 2 places that are always open. So, people feel that and they want to be a part of it too. So, and a lot of cold calling and a lot of emailing, and I got way more no's than I got yeses, but, it took like 100 emails to get those 6 or 7 yeses, and that's all you need to feed your cast and crew. So that was really cool.
It's a huge tip, guys. Pay attention. So you're a producer here in Austin, and we just had a bill, SB 22, that passed for, I think it's like a $1.5 billion bill for the next 10 years. What does that mean for you as a producer here?
I've gotten a lot of questions, surrounding that. I would say, like, to anybody out there who's looking to take advantage of that, read all of the fine print. Make sure that the guidelines and the criteria that surround this bill match your project before just, like, greenlighting your own project and saying, this is what we're doing. Like, make sure it matches everything that's required. To anybody who works in Austin and are hopeful for productions to just come here and, like, give us all the jobs, I would also, like, not quit what you're doing already. There are a bunch of productions that are going to come to Texas to take advantage of these incentives, but they may not be hiring local, or at least to the degree that we would like. So keep that hope, keep that, that gusto alive, but simultaneously don't just assume everything's going to magically work for you. or work in your favor, right? I have a lot of friends out in New Mexico, a lot of friends in Louisiana, in Atlanta, that they moved from Austin to these other states the second they started upping the incentives, right? And then they still don't have work. They don't know the right people, or they quit their job and they're like, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to wait for the right opportunity. And it's like, stay focused on the goal, which is telling the story and connecting with others. Hopefully the rest will follow. So.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you're hopeful but cautious.
Yes. Okay. Still be smart about it. Don't just, like, I see everybody like, oh my God, my life's going to change because of this. And it's like, well, you still have to look at the fine print. You still have to make sure you meet the criteria. I think that's with anything though, so.
So let me ask you, why Austin? Why, have you had your career here? Do you plan to stay here? Do you think that Austin is the place to be when it comes to filmmaking?
I plan to stay here as long as I can. I do think it is the place that fits me best. Excuse me. I have so many friends in New Mexico, Louisiana, New York, LA, who swear by their cities and they swear by their communities. But I've also been there and I just don't get the same vibe or the same energy that I do here in Austin. The one exception is the community in Shreveport has been very, very close to matching this like tight-knit, it truly feels like family type vibe. But I don't know if it's like the Texas charm or Southern hospitality or just like everybody in Austin being so willing to work together and collaborate, and just like help each other on each other's projects. Everybody's constantly lifting each other up. It's not like, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? But it's, what can I do for you? Or what can we do for each other? And it always gets back. I went to my undergrad in English, sorry. I did my undergrad in Houston, and then I did my master's program in New Mexico. I lived in Boston for 2 years, and those places were not for me. It was either just like the attitudes of people, whether it was too much or too little. Boston was cutthroat. Everybody was just rude. And then coming to Austin, originally for music, but then just like finding film, or film finding me, I don't know. It just worked. And like, Basil King is a testament to that. The music videos I've made are a testament to that. It's just the amount of people who are willing to be there for you. And then like the love and the energy I feel anytime somebody's like, hey, would you want to act in my thing? Or would you want to help assist direct or help produce or whatever it is? Trusting me to be a part of their vision. Like, that's an honor every single time somebody asks me. So, I haven't found that anywhere else except maybe Shreveport. They have a very tight-knit community there, but Austin is just like, it's like no other, really. So. Yeah,
I would agree. As coming from LA, coming here, my first instinct was to go back to LA, but I really fell in love with the community here, and it's kept me here. And so that's why, even though SB22 might not, rescue everybody, I think it's great for like a rising tide, in terms
yes.
of just the filmmaking scene as a whole, which yes. I can't wait because I love Austin.
I really hope it works out for more people here locally and not just everybody that's going to be flocking here.
Absolutely. So what's the future plan for Basil King?
Oh, so many possibilities and opportunities. I think the biggest thing we're gunning for right now is trying to get funding for the rest of season 1. We recently fleshed out episodes 2 through 7, including a musical number that I am excited to say I'm a part of. But finding investors who believe in, what we're doing, what we're building. It's not just a series. It's not just a collection of shorts as well. Just like when we're not actively working on the pilot episode, we're working on these short films to keep ourselves busy, to keep the universe alive. And when we're not working on our own things, literally the entire Basil King family, the crew, are helping each other on each other's projects. Me and one of the co-producers, Taylor Fredericks, have worked on like 8 other films in addition to the 3 Basil King films we've been working on. And that's been within the last 9 months. It's like we actively believe in giving back to those who were there for us when we didn't have enough money or we didn't have enough, you know, I don't want to say manpower, but people power, when we didn't have enough hands on deck. And what we are a little hesitant about, I would say, is having to crowdfund every single episode, which is why we're really hoping that Dances with Films coming up will be, you know, the chance to meet new people, maybe open some new doors, meet some investors who are willing to be a part of it and have their name attached to this world we're building, this community we're building. And I think regardless if we get that, the goal is to still finish it somehow. If we have to bootstrap our way through the entire season, but you know, it's not going to be over. And whether it's the full season 1 or additional shorts or a mix of both, I feel like as long as our team cares, we're gonna keep going.
Well, congratulations, first of all, for getting into Dance with the Films. That's going to be huge regardless, right?
Thank you.
And I kind of want to know a little bit about like how you got involved with Basil King. What drew you to it in the first place?
Funny enough, it was a post on Facebook. So, what's weird, like, I cannot stand Facebook. It drives me insane, just the algorithms and, like, the amount of spam. But I have booked, I want to say, 90% of the gigs that I get, whether they're paid or collaborations or whatever. It's either word of mouth or it's through Facebook posts. Somebody saying, hey, I want to do this random film and I'm missing this. And I'm like, oh, I can help you with that. Or, like, I can be that. Or I can do that. You know, I am constantly and actively giving my time or my energy or, you know, my resources or tagging other people who I know could help. And that, you know, that willingness to help has gotten me other job opportunities. Taylor Fredericks had made a post like, hey, we're looking for an assistant director. We're looking for a line producer. We're looking for an additional producer. And I was like, I do all those things. And like, sounds like you need somebody who can do multiple things. Otherwise, you're going to have to hire multiple people. And he sent me the script for the pilot episode. I think we had an initial meeting with the other creators and the DP and the director. They were all great. And I was like, this is hilarious. These people seem really cool. Let's go. And it was just through a Facebook post that I saw. And not only has it been so much fun and a wild experience as far as filmmaking goes, but it feels like a family, like a newfound family, group of best friends. And like I was saying earlier, I worked on 8+ other films with these same people, but to help other filmmakers, to help other indie productions. And so it's like, I keep calling it, you know, the Basil King family. It's not just about Basil King and the series and the short films we're making, but it's like this family, this collective, this, you know, just community that I don't want to say we built, but we've like brought together. So it's great.
Absolutely. Speaking of community, you've built this really cool like online presence within the social media community. It's everywhere you look, and not saying this in a bad way, in a great way, there's Basil King. You know, it feels kind of like a little bit larger than life. Like, what was the strategy to achieving that without having, I don't know what your marketing budget was, but I'm sure it's not in the millions.
It's in the zeros. It's zero. Everything social media is Taylor Fredericks and me. He is a wizard when it comes to graphic design and like organization of pictures and photos and just making it look flashy, making it look pretty. Our on-set photographer, Christopher De La Rosa, just like provided us with a gold mine of gorgeous photos. Our on-set videographer, our behind-the-scenes videographer, Armando, you know, we have footage from him. I take endless photos and videos everywhere we go, whatever we're doing. So I have additional footage. All of that is just content. And I am also a big believer in using social media as a tool. I can't stand looking at it as like, oh, this, you know, like this form of success. Like if you don't have this kind of following or you don't have this amount of likes on your post, it must mean you're a failure. But instead, like, how can I learn the algorithms and how can I change up the content and how can I engage our followers, but in a healthy and meaningful way. So I've been doing that for the last several years with my own projects. It's like, it's not just about blasting people with content or saying, look what we did, look what we did, look what, it's finding meaningful ways to remind people, A, you exist, B, you're working hard, and C, you're connecting with other people you care about and wanting to lift them up and wanting to highlight their strengths. So I think it's been a little over a year now. I think it was like April of last year where I came up with this spreadsheet of Basil King social media ideas. And now, like, just looking back at it, you know, we've been posting every 2 to 3 days for the last year, just like endless ideas. We always shout out our cast and crew members when it's their birthday. We do individual posts for, you know, departments. Here's the camera department, here's the G&E team, here's our post-production team, and then we do individual shout-outs for like cast spotlights. This is this character, this is why they're cool, and this is the person who played them and made them come to life. So just kind of curating that content ahead of time really helps. I think currently on our sheets we have templates for social media posts all the way through the end of August. So it's just like already built in. It's just a matter of like, this photo goes with that post or this video goes with this post. And it's just like keeping ourselves engaged so we don't get sick of it, because it's easy. It's easy to get sick of social media, but recognizing it's a tool and recognizing that if people don't see, which sucks, by the way, if people don't see what you're doing, it's hard for people to understand what you're doing or, you know, to what extent you're doing it. It's like you might as well go outside and be like, look at my film, because nobody's going to know it exists. So you have to use it and you have to look at it as a tool.
Okay, so I got 3 more questions for you. The first one is, I know that it's really important to you to make an impact outside of film, and you're using Basil King in that direction. There's something coming up this summer. Are you able to talk about that yet?
Yes. One of my favorite things about Basil King is how different it is. It's very raunchy. It's very off the cuff. You know, maybe some of the characters are politically incorrect. They go against the grain. It's R-rated. Some of the humor is not everybody's cup of tea. You know, some of the choice of words. But what I love is a challenge and recognizing that these characters are gritty. They're rude. They're jerks, they're assholes, right? And recognizing like people in real life are like that. And so you see some comedies today, or, you know, films in general, they try to like censor that a little bit, or they try to make it friendly. Let's make it PG or PG-13, or let's make it politically correct. We don't want to offend anybody. But it's like people in real life are not like that. There are a lot of actually very famous people that are very rough and very rude and very gross. And our characters are like that in Basil King. They're these Goombas and this mob boss that are just like going through life and like killing people and selling drugs and belittling each other, right? So that challenge, first and foremost, like how do we tell this story and then simultaneously highlight the deeper parts of these characters? Like, why are these characters so rude? Why are they so you know, gung-ho about selling drugs? What got them into this line of work? Why is one of the Goombas just going and killing everybody he sees? Kind of like highlighting the soft white underbelly, as people might say, to these really, really dark characters. And I like to think of it as like it all boils down to mental health, specifically for Basil King, like maybe men's mental health. Each of these characters has a backstory to where, like, you know, our main character grew up without a father. His mother literally had to sell herself to raise him. Like, that's dark. Like, it's funny and we're laughing at him and he's rude and vulgar, but like at the core of his upbringing, it's really, really sad. Same with the other characters. They have their own story and why they are the way they are. And I know, like, just myself and some of the people I'm closest with, we all have our story. We all have the thing that has made us and has maybe almost broken us at times. And simultaneously, creatives, artists, filmmakers, musicians, anybody who truly gives their whole heart to something, they're probably doing it as an outlet, right? Because otherwise you can't make great art without there being some sort of suffering behind that. And while I love like laughing at a good comedy or, you know, crying at a good drama or, you know, being terrified of a good horror, I always like to think about, you know, what's going on inside of all those characters. So I came up with this idea to have a film and music showcase, not only to like share all the content we made, because it's like, when else could we ever do that? Not only to highlight our cast and crew, spotlight some of the people that have gone above and beyond again and again and again, kind of give back to them, but to simultaneously center that event around mental health and give back to an organization that goes out of their way to help artists and creatives, which is based in Austin, the Hogg Foundation for Mental Health Awareness and Prevention. So we're doing this green carpet event to help support that, lift up our community, and then proceeds will benefit the Hogg Foundation. I'm getting a little sad, sorry. It's just also beautiful.
That sounds incredible. I'll be there for sure. Make sure you come out. Okay, so if you had like a quick piece of advice to give a new filmmaker here in Austin who wants to get involved, what would you tell them?
There's so many good pieces of advice I want to give all at once, but I think it all boils down to be open and flexible, be always be willing to learn, and I cannot stress enough, don't go into a film or a project with this mentality of like I or me or, you know, my department, because you'll have a hard time building your network. You'll have a hard time building your film family. I've worked on so many projects with people like that, and it might work for you here or there, but eventually word gets around that you're just hard to work with, and after, you know, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, people will not want to work with you. Eventually, you know, you're going to burn bridges like that. So new filmmakers, just learn everything you can. Be collaborative too. Like, there's that age-old argument, like, don't work for free, but it's also simultaneously like, I've gotten more gigs by helping this or that project for free that one time, and then they hire me every other time thereafter. So, you know, I think just be open is at the core of all of that.
That's great advice. And then my final question for you is, if people at home want to follow you, get involved, follow the Basil King Kingdom, how would they go about doing so?
Instagram is probably the best place to go for every up-to-date tidbit. We also have our link tree, basilkingfilm.com. We're on Facebook as well, but it feels like nobody else is. So Instagram is definitely, you know, fun, easy to navigate. I think everybody has an Instagram. I don't think we have X or Threads really, but yeah, I would say Instagram or basilkingfilm.com.
And that's where they can go to learn more about that event this summer?
Yes. So we literally just finished the flyer today. We're going to be making that post soon. That's on July 20th at Vulcan Gas Company in downtown Austin. And it's happening on a Sunday, so there's free street parking. And it is all suggested donations. Again, proceeds benefiting the Hogg Foundation. You're welcome to donate more, but it's a $20 suggested donation. And we also have some VIP seats where you'll get a lot of merch and cool little swag bits. Again, suggested donation there. So hope you guys can come and support.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say thanks so much for coming out and being a guest on Keep Austin Film. And guys, if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you follow her, check out the Basil King world. They've got a bunch of different content coming out, and it's all excellent. And so if you get the chance, go watch it right away, and make sure you're at this event this summer. And I hope to see you next time.
Yay.
You know, you didn't have to kill Mario back there.
Look, you weren't getting a fucking dime back from that son of a bitch. All I'm saying is, you don't pay in green, you're paying in red.
God damn it, Bobby. So you're probably asking yourself, who's this and who's that? This is the real life story of me, Jeffrey Bazils, the Basil King.
Yeah, babe, everything's fine. Business as usual.
So what are you supposed to be?